So I'm here with Lee Waite, Global Head of Direct Custody and Clearing with Citi. Thanks for joining me, Lee.
Thank you. Thank you to be here.
One of the big issues at Sibos 2012 is around liquidity and intraday credit. What are the main issues you're seeing here? What are the challenges that's faced, and how can the community respond to these?
Sure, you're right. I think it is a big topic. It's one of the big three. I'm calling it.
Yeah.
And I think in this space, this has been something. Liquidity has been provisioned basically for free or bundled, quite frankly, for a long time in the securities settlement space. And I think there's a lot of discussion going on now, particularly in light of Basel III and other regulatory imperatives as to whether liquidity can continue to be provided for free, or whether it's got to be provisioned as a separate side agreement, if you will, and how is that going to be priced. So I think we're at the early stages of this. There's a lot of discussion going on about how this might work, how it might be priced, how much liquidity is being used at any given day. Do we have the proper tools to really measure liquidity usage at any given point in time during the trading day, et cetera? And that answer varies probably by counterparty to counterparty. So I think it's a topic that, as you suggest, is hot and a lot of people are talking about right now. My suspicion is over the next 12 months we're going to continue to talk about it along with some of the other topics of the day.
Well, speaking of, I guess, a continuation of topics, economic risk, all eyes on the Eurozone still. What are you seeing there? Any signs of improvement, or do you think there are still dangers of national debt defaults?
Sure. Well, clearly some signs of improvement. I think maybe we feel a little bit better today than we did a few months ago. That said, I think we hope for the best and plan for the worst, if you will, right? So from a Citi perspective, what we've done is remediate our systems to be able to handle multiple currencies, or at least two currencies, and not only in the GIPS markets, but obviously we've got plans across, if anything were to happen, across the wider Europe as well. So while we don't anticipate that will happen, and we certainly hope that it doesn't happen, we need to be prepared because our clients expect us to be prepared.
And of course, it's tricky to have any conversation this week at Sibos, it seems, without talking about regulation. What's the burden that is faced by financial institutions today, and what effect is that also having on clients?
Sure. Well, regulation is a huge topic and has been for the last several years, and my suspicion is will be for the next several years. And clearly the pace of regulation doesn't change. I think a lot of it's necessary, quite frankly, and not all regulation is bad necessarily, but nonetheless all needs to be dealt with. I read that last year in the financial services market as a whole globally, there were over 11,000 regulatory changes that took place. So keeping track with all of that and keeping up with it and remediating for it is a huge burden, both on ourselves as a provider and on our clients, as you suggest. So one of the things that we're seeing more and having more dialogue with our clients about is how can Citi or firms such as ours shield to some degree our clients from that regulatory burden. We have to remediate for it under any circumstance, right? We have to be in those markets and in those businesses, so we have to have our systems and policies and procedures remediated for it. And are there ways of them outsourcing certain parts of their value chain, their supply chain, to us as an example, which then shields them from some of this regulatory burden and some of the expense of that. So a lot of dialogue and a lot of discussion about that, and in fact we're starting to see some of that come to fruition.
So lots of work to be done. Thank you very much for joining me, Lee. I'll let you get back to that work immediately.
Thank you very kindly.
Cheers.
Have a good day.